Motupi, we're back again on Forex Thesis 2.0. This is the next lesson from the previous one that we're actually looking at. And on this lesson, we're actually going to be speaking about how to pick the right pairs, which is very important that we need to know the pairs that we are going to be trading with, or backtesting, or just picking and trading with. So firstly, it is important to be able to differentiate between major pairs, minor pairs, and exotic pairs, which is easily shown in your platform. Like it appears there, you can simply see that we've got our majors, our minors, our exotic pairs, and also things such as like indices and so on. I highly suggest you start with at least 4 major pairs and try to avoid having the same currency in pairs you choose. Basically, what this means would be like, let's say when you're still a beginner, yes, it's nice to just jump onto the markets and trade each and every pair. But I suggest that at least when you're trading like AUD JPY, highly try to avoid trading GBP JPY, USD JPY, CAD JPY at the same time. Just focus on AUD JPY, USD. You can focus on USD CHF. You can focus on, I don't know, CAD. Something that's a bit more different, something that's much more different at the same time. So you need to calculate the pip value on which you learned from the first lessons on the first model, so you know how much you are making or losing per pip. This will help you see on which pair have more value in pip per pip. So basically what this happens is that, like, calculating the pip value, you may find out that one pip would be much more expensive. Let's say if you taking a look at USD JPY, CAD JPY, GBP JPY, and you calculate the pip value. Let's say it depends. Do you want to trade a pair that has much more greater pip or much more cheaper pip? Much more greater chip would mean that one pip is paying you more. Like if it goes one pip in your direction, you get more money. But if it goes one pip against you, you lose more money at the same time. So you need to take a look at calculate the pip value, decide on which you're gonna be trading with. You can either say, I want to be trading currencies that have high pip value, so I'm only going to be focusing on that. And then let's say if you're looking at the one currency, calculate the pip value, see which one is a much more greater one, and then pick it just like that. The currency pair you pick needs to be backtested, so you know which methods works best. This is the most important one. You need to know, like when you picking a specific currency, you need to actually backtest and know about it. So when you're placing trades, you're confident, you know what works, what doesn't work, what strategy to employ, how to enter, how to exit, and all these types of things that you need to know. The right pair will tick all the boxes, and you have will tick all the boxes you have for your required criteria box to ensure you are taking a high probability setup. So this is what the right pair is going to do. It's going to tick all the boxes, and at the same time it's going to allow you to be able to be trading high probability setup, which is what we need. Okay guys, so I'm jumping onto the whiteboard here. I want us to speak about pairs so you are able to understand how you can differentiate between two major pairs and currency pairs, because like in your MetaTrader it's even written, like, once you do go to the search bar, you'll be able to see that these are majors, these are exotics, there's also exotics and all types of currency pairs. So you need to be able to just look at the first one, which is the majors, né? So basically, like when you are still learning, when you are understanding, when you want to see and understand how to actually pick currency, because I do get asked this, and even you guys requested, because I was asking you guys what videos should I make into the extended version, and you're like, make about how can I choose currency pairs. There's different types of currency pairs out there, there's different types of majors out there, but you need to be able to just see which one can work out for you. And in order to do this, you have to do what we spoke about in the previous lesson. You have to backtest, man. You have to just backtest. Let's say now we're starting with let's say Euro USD. And then afterwards, just by going forward, you can still backtest something that correlates with Euro USD, but it's not really a major, just to see if it is really happening the same way. Because you may find out that like people on Euro USD and let's say GBP USD, Euro USD, GBP USD, find out that here you're seeing a pattern that's like this, that is like this, nah. You're seeing a pattern that is like this, but actually like the one that can reward more, find out that it's either it's EURUSD or it's maybe GBPUSD, but you don't really know that how, or why don't you know that? Because you didn't backtest. But if you did backtest, you'd be able to understand, okay, no, EURUSD, normally when I buy, it makes me, it goes much more further compared to GBPUSD. And GBPUSD, when I sell, it gives more profits. And me using my strategy, whenever with the GBPUSD, I actually make more money selling instead of more money buying. With EURUSD, it's actually neutral. So you understand that you can focus on buying EURUSD, you can focus on selling GBPUSD, but you can't really just say or do this without knowing the real information. That's why it's important to backtest, mate. That is important to backtest. And also you guys need to also be able to understand how to not differentiate, how to actually calculate the pip value. Find out that this one here, 0.01 or just one pip is equals to maybe $11, using one lot, obviously standard account. And then on GBPSD, find out that I don't know, one pip is actually 10 point, I don't know, 10 point something dollars using standard account one lot. So you need to also understand the pip value C, because there's pairs that are much more looking at the pip value, they are much more expensive. Just 0.01 is able to hit you too much of your account. You need to also understand the pip value method. But I want us to actually take a look at this. Like, it's very important to, when you are trading, to actually know for sure what it is that you're being involved in. What do I mean? I mean basically like this. Let's say if this is Euro USD, Euro USD, and here is, I don't know, for example, if it is USD JPY, you need to be able to just see how USD actually is affected within the markets. Let's say if you're looking at the DXY, you do know the DXY, looking at the DXY, find out that the DXY, let me just write here, DXY, okay, this is not too neat though, but DXY. And then one thing that I'd say is that the DXY is going to the outside. The DXY literally represents the dollar. Find out that the DXY is going to the outside. But let's say when it does go to the upside, find out that Euro USD, okay, obviously this is going to be affected, because when I look at my toolbox using the compare button, where I'm going to show you guys after here, the compare button in the MetaTrader, not the the TradingView platform, I'm able to see how these two compare, how these two actually go with each other. But find out that when this does go up, obviously USD is affected, and which means that Euro USD is gonna go down. We do know this. Now, this is actually something that we know. But find out that also the JPY markets at this time are now in demand. They actually are rising. They actually also have momentum going on. So find out that these two are challenging each other. So while challenging each other, since this is also going up and this is also going up, obviously they can go up at the same time, because now it's gonna be it's not in balance. But this happening, it results to what? To a correction. It results to a ranging markets, but this results to obviously a sell, a short. Can you see? So you know for sure that, okay, no, I picked the right pace, so I can differentiate that USD JPY currently is correcting, even though the XY, the dollar index, is going upwards, but at the same time the Japanese markets are also rising. But Euro USD compared to USD is gaining strength, but Euro is not really gaining strength. It's actually losing value. So it means that there's a perfect time for you to actually do that, to sell Euro. So you need to look at that. Make sure that you guys are actually taking notes on these, because it's very important. It's one of those things that that it doesn't really look or seem important, but once you do tweak it, like once you do focus on it, and then you change it, and then you focus much more into detail with it, and you start to analyze, and then maybe you improve it, find out that you can improve your whole trading journey with just 1%. That 1% is going to be exponential in the near future, because like all these things, when they do compound, they compound to something super amazing. So I need you guys to actually take note of this, and then let us jump onto the screen. Okay guys, so picking the right pairs, I mentioned that you need to be able to understand or differentiate the difference between the majors or the minors and exotic pairs, and then you'll be able to just let's say pick the ones that you start let's prefer to start up with. So let's say I pick Euro USD, okay, one of my majors as a GBP USD. Okay, but obviously since I want us to stay away from pairs that are alike, so let me just go to maybe GBP JPY, depends on which ones you prefer or you like, GBP JPY, and let's say for instance AUD NZD. So let's say now I've got 3 pairs, and I say I'm focusing on 3 pairs now. So these 3 pairs are the ones that will guide me be able to see which one actually helps trading my strategy. So let's say for instance if it's Euro USD here on the side, obviously Euro USD, one thing that you need to do is back test it. So I'm going back to the second point, because I'm going through this, just reading the second point, and right here I just shown you guys that I put this up just to say that this is what I focus on. The previous lesson obviously we spoke about back testing, so this is what you'll be focusing on. Let's say if it's a quarter, you'll be focusing on Euro USD, GBP, and only AUD NZD. This is the right way to pick currency pairs. And then I highly suggest that you start with at least 4 majors and try to avoid having the same currency pair. So just like what I've done, there's no USD or there's no Euro, there's no GBP. I mean, there's no currencies that actually repeat themselves. So I need you to also focus a bit more on that. Just have a minimum, at least a minimum of 2 or 3. That will be okay, but as long as if it's like not more than 4, then you're good to go. There's 28 currency pairs, so if you try to backtest them all at once, you're gonna be overwhelmed, you're gonna be stressful, because there's just a lot of information and data that you need. It takes time to backtest, so it's not something that you can do in just a weekend. Okay, you need to calculate the pip value of which you lend. Yes, you need to understand which one pays more, which one pays less. Are you willing to just let's say GBP, for instance. GBP is actually a much more stronger one when it comes to pit value. So let's say 0.0, like let's say 1 pip on 0.01 is not going to be the same on EURUSD. So some things like this, you need to be able to understand if that's something that you're comfortable with. Just like Nasdaq, we know that Nasdaq, it's not the same as other currencies, or I don't know, indices, whatever that you'd mention. Okay, the currency pair you pick needs to be backtested, so you know which methods work. Yeah, like I mentioned, let's say if you chose EURUSD, you need to be able to literally backtest it, have 100 pairs, just like what I shown you guys on the previous lesson. Have 100 trades that you take, and then you'd be able to see if the strategy is really working, or like the way that you use the strategy, if it's really working on USD, and what is the win rate. Imagine, let's say when you have all these pairs, and you know this one gives you back, let's say 70% of the trades that you take. This one gives you 54, this one gives you, let's say, 36. Then you know most trades that you get on EURUSD are more likely to be winners compared to AUD NZD. It doesn't mean that you have to change the strategy because AUD NZD is not working. It means that you just have to stay away from AUD NZD and focus more on the ones that are giving much more better returns. The currency pair you pick needs to be backtested. You do know that the right pair box, the right pair will tick all the boxes you have for your required criteria box to ensure you are trading a high profitability setup. That's one thing that you need. The right pair will always show up by obviously you being able to just tick the right. Let's say for instance now this with EURUSD, I can simply just say, oh, I'm seeing this. Okay, this is just something that I'm doing briefly. I'm seeing this, and obviously at the top side I am seeing something like this, something like, okay, right here. So there's a higher chance, like let's say understanding, backtesting, and all those things, there's a higher chance of market price just coming, dropping maybe here, then going all the way to the upside, and then continue to just buy. So one thing that I do is that by picking pace, obviously I would have backtested, and backtesting I would have forecasted this before. I would have known that okay, EURUSD is more likely to come maybe give me a third touch and then go up, or if this happens, and then if this happens I know how to execute, and if this happens I know how to execute at the same time, because it's something that I've backtested, I have information on about. It's not just me trading USD because it printed my setup, but it's me understanding that if USD prints this setup, most times, let's say 7 out of 10 times, these setups are more likely to just go to the upside right now instead of coming all the way to the downside. Why am I saying so? It's because I backtest, I've got the information, and I picked the right pairs that I needed to backtest on. So something you need to focus on. And yeah, I really do hope that you will input this information that I'm sharing with you onto your trading journey so you can find success a bit more quicker. But let us move on to the next lesson.